Good morning, Morai v'Rabotai, Bruchim Habayim. We are continuing on Masechet Succah, and we are on the bottom of Daf Chaf Vav Amud Aleph, 16 lines. Amen. This week's learning of the community has been dedicated graciously by the Shea family, Dayan family, Kohen families. It should be an ultimate zchut for all their mishpachot Bezat Hashem. Amen. So we are continuing on the classic Gemarot of what are the elements of Chiyuv and Ptur in Sukkah. We had in our Mishnah the Shluchei Mitzvah, that we discuss a whole daf of Osek be mitzvah patur mina mitzvah. We discuss the offshoot of that by tefillin, mezuzah, people who are involved with sorche sibur be'emunah. Thank you. And that also is something that we saw. Now we are going to discuss the very much evaded topic of eating and sleeping in the Sukkah. Shenat Arai, Shenat Keva, says the Mishnah, Ochli Machilat Arai Chutz LeSukkah. You can eat Achilat Arai, temporary eating, not a full Seudah. You're sitting to eat a little temporary something and go out. That you could do even outside the Sukkah. Says the Gemara, the Kama Achilat Arai. What is considered Achilat Arai? How much is Achilat Arai? Now we know in Hilchot Yom Kippurim we have set rules, right? Kakotevet Gasa. If you are Og Melech HaBashan, says the Shulchan Aruch, if you're the giant of all times, or a nanas, a regular short guy, a little small fellow, is the same shiur Kakotevet Gasa. Those are the Chatzisin, Mechisin, and Shiurin Aracha Moshe Misinai. So what is considered Achilat Arai? Says the Gemara, Amar of Yosef, Tarti Otlat Be'i. It's 2 or 3 betzim, 2 or 3 kabetzes is considered Achilat Arai. Now, first of all, why 2 or 3? Oh, if it's 3, it's not 2. If it's 2, it's not 3. As that, the Gemara is giving just a hash'ara? No, not necessarily. The Gemara in Eruvin has a machloket, Tanaim, how much is the shiur of Eruv for Seudah of Eruv? And there is machloket if it's 3 or 4 kabetzas. It actually becomes machloket Rashi and Rambam, right? In Shcharuch we follow these patterns of halacha. So says the say the Mefarshim, Rabbi Moshe Horowitz writes in his Chidushim over here, says that's exactly why you have 2 or 3, because according to the Mandamar, that Kviyat Seudah is 3 kabetzas, so 2 kabetzas is going to be Achilat Arai. 3 is already Seudah, but according to the Mandamar, that for Kviyat Seudah you need 4 kabetzas, then even 3 kabetzas will be still Achilat Arai. So when we say 2 or 3, we are referencing very quietly, very subtly, the machloket that we have in Masechet Eruvin, that whatever your shita happens to be in Masechet Eruvin for Kviyut Seudah, less than that, 1 kabetza less than that will be Seudat Arai, Achilat Arai. Now, the interesting thing is, really we don't even necessarily have this girsa of kabetzas, according to many girsaot. I mean, the Tosafot mentions it, so therefore we explain our girsa the way we have it. But if you take a look at the little bet on Be'i, on the side, you'll see that many girsaot did not even have kabetza. They had bisi, which means mouthfuls. Like, just how many pieces you put, how many times you put a piece in your mouth, and that's 2 or 3. Again, we explained it according to our girsa, the way we have it. Amar le Abaye, Abaye said, really? Many times you eat 3 kabetzas, and then you're good to go. I mean, that's a seudah. A lot of times that fulfills a person, that's a lot. 2 or 3 kabetzas, that's achilat arai, that's already too much.
But we're mechuyev to bench, which is 1 kabetza.
We'll get to that. Right, we'll get to that. So Amar Abaye says, therefore that's too much. It will be already seudat keva if a person is satisfied with 2 or 3 kabetzas, that's a lot. And Amar Abaye said, is the shiur that a yeshiva man, a yeshiva boy, a younger man, puts in his mouth to run to the shiur. Now, what is this referring to? Back in the day, they had shiur right after shaharit. Yeah, actually, Chacham Obadia once in a shiur in Motzai Shabbat said many years ago, he said, Rabbi Yosef Yedid HaLevi, the Geonei Ador of the previous generation before Chacham Obadia, was asked once to go give a shiur in a yeshiva. So he was a tremendous person. He was learning the entire day. He had a large sifriyah of sifarim, and every sefer that he had in his possessions of the Tshuvot, he had at the very least read twice cover to cover. A tremendous matpid. He wrote a lot of Sfarim, Chidushim. A fantastic person. Now, he himself actually, the way he would eat, his wife would give him like a loaf of bread, and right after shaharit, he would say Amotzi, and he would like a little nibble on it the whole day he was there. And he would bench at the end of the day. He was learning the entire time, writing, learning. So he asked to give the shiur. So he shows up, I think, by 7 o'clock or 7:30 by the yeshiva, ready to give the shiur. And he says, no one's a bit midrash. And it took him a while until he figured out that they haven't davened shacharit yet. And he was so disappointed. He's like, how is this generation going to become Talmidei Chachamim 7:30 and you haven't davened? You should be already ready to start the day with learning, hit the ground, running. And this is how it used to be in the time of Chazal. They would daven netz, they would daven early, and then they would, give the shiur right away. And you never knew how long the shmata is going to take. You may have taken the whole day. So therefore, the people would be running to the shmuah, to the learning. They would stuff something in their mouth quickly, 1 mouthful, and then they will run to the shiur. This way they will have the stamina to go through it. If it would take too long, they would not they would not starve. So that is the shiur, 1 mouthful of food. The Tosafot on the side says that's 1 kabetza. Fine. So Abaye says, well, 2 or 3 kabetzas too much. 1 kabetza. That is the shiur of achilat arai. Right now, this is obviously been brought in Shulchan Aruch, in the beginning of Masechet Succah. Rambam deviates a little bit about this. That's, again, Ayin Sham. There's a lot of debate around this exact shiur, as it turns out, the Psak Halacha. But nevertheless, 1 kabetza is the shita of Abaye. Kedetayim bar berav ve'ayil lekala, when the amount that a student of Torah would put it in his mouth to run to the shiur. Tarabanan, says the Gemara, ochlin achilat arai chutz lesukkah. We could eat achilat arai, a temporary suda, not an achilat keva. You're not setting yourself for eating, but en yeshenin shenat arai chutz lesukkah. When it comes to sleeping, you cannot sleep shenat arai, even a temporary little nap, you cannot have outside of sukkah. Why is that? My Tama, says the Gemara. Amar of Ashi, gezerah shema yiradam. We are concerned that once you go sleeping is something that we do naturally. We don't need a lot of training for sleeping, right? And once you take a nap, a lot of times the nap turns into a full-fledged sleeping, and therefore we're concerned that he's going to take a little nap, and next thing you know, he's sleeping there for hours, and now, of course, it will be asur. Amar le'Abaye. Now, we're going to come back to deal with this, right? This concern about sleeping is something we're going to deal with. Amar le'Abaye. Abaye again asks the question, Elaha de Tanya. This we learned in the Braita about the halachot of tefillin. One of the things you cannot do with tefillin is you can't go to sleep with tefillin. Can't. Why? By the way, the reason that we don't wear tefillin at night is not because, contrary to what people think, that night is not time for tefillin. Night is, Laila Zman tefillin. Night is time for tefillin. It's not like tzitzit, that or itemoto at night you're patur. Night is time for tefillin. Why don't we? You're very careful, like by Tanit, those Sfardim who have the minhag to wear talit and tefillin, you see them right away by shkia. Everyone gets very nervous. They're right away taking down the tefillin because they don't want to be wearing tefillin at night. Why don't we wear tefillin at night? Because Shema Yiradam, the Shema Yafiach. Because you may, at night it's time for sleeping. So we're concerned a person is going to sleep and come to let gas pass gas, which would be us. That is what's asur. Now, by the way, why women are patur from tefillin if it's night is time for tefillin? Why is it mitzvat aseh shazman grama? For women to be absolved from tefillin, it has to be time bound. We're saying that night is time for tefillin. So because Shabbat is not time for tefillin, right? Shabbat is its own ot, and therefore Shabbat is not time for tefillin, making tefillin a mitzvah aseh shazman grama. It's the entire rest of the week, but not on Shabbat and not on Yom Tov. That's why tefillin is mitzvah aseh shazman grama. But for le'inyanenu, for our topic, the Braita says, Yashen Adam Shenat Arai B'Tfilin. A person, even despite the fact that we know you cannot sleep with tefillin on, you can sleep, take a little short nap. Shenat Arai. You ought to put your head down on, that you can do. Shenat Arai, it's mutar v'tefillin. Avalo Shenat Keva. But you cannot go to sleep, Shenat Keva, with tefillin. Why is that? Because, again, you may come to let pass gas, and that's the issue. So Abaye says, well, you have this Braita, and that indicates that we are not concerned that from a little nap you're going to go to a deep sleep. Because if you're concerned about that, why is it that you're allowing me to take a little nap with tefillin, knowing that the nap cannot turn into a deep sleep? It seems from the Braita directly and clearly and unequivocally that it is not a concern that from a nap you're going to go to a deep sleep. Abaye is asking a very good question, right? Very good question. He says, well, for why Sukkah you're concerned that I can't put my head down, take a little nap during Rabbi's drasha, right? Why can't I? I mean, by tefillin I can. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabbi Yosef breh de Rav Ilai, b'moser shenato la'acherim. Says, no, that halacha, that Braita, that by tefillin you could have a little nap, is when you tell someone, please watch me, that I don't fall asleep. I want to just take a 2-minute nap over here, put my head down, make sure I don't go to deep sleep. That's what it means. You have a shomer. Like anything else, by anything else, shomer works. So here also, it will work. So matkif lahu la misharshia. La misharshia says, wait a second. Arva sarich. It says your guarantor needs to guarantee for himself. Who says he's not going to fall asleep? Right? Now, the Aruch Laner, Rabbi Yaakov Ettlinger, many others, they ask the obvious question. You say, wait a second. Shomer always works. Why am I concerned that the shomer is going to fall asleep also? I mean, the whole thing is a chashash. Why are we so it's clear, depending on the answers that different achronim give, it's clear that by sleeping, maybe because it is something that we naturally do, and a person is tired, falls asleep, a little nap turns into a 2-hour sleep, we are more concerned. This is more of a natural, automatic concern than other areas of halakha. You see, by tefillin, we don't allow you to continue wearing tefillin or put on tefillin at night, even though that you're wide awake and ready to roll. Still, we don't let you because maybe you're going to fall asleep and maybe you're going to come to that gas. That's it would seem like a far-fetched chashash, but that's how it is. By sleeping, we are more concerned than a regular activity. So therefore, it says, Arvach arva sarich. We don't rely on shomer in this area of halacha because he may also fall asleep himself. Fine. So the Gemara now says,
how can Mishnah possibly allow Shenat Arai with Tefil Amen? With Tefillah? How is it even permitted, Shenat Arai? Even the concept.
Now, so the problem with tefillin is not necessarily that this is disrespectful. The Gemara is going to discuss it in just a moment. 3 different scenarios. Sometimes it's absolutely asur, sometimes it's not. And again, the little nap with tefillin, especially considering that people did everything with tefillin. Nowadays, we're used to putting on tefillin for a few minutes during shacharit, and that's it. In the time of Chazal, people put on tefillin early in the morning, and they took it out right before nightfall. They wore tefillin the entire day. They worked with tefillin, they played with tefillin, they did everything with tefillin, right? So therefore, it's important, the discussions in the Gemara of a person going to bathroom, when he could have tefillin on, when you have to take it off, gedolim, ktanim, betekise kavua, not kavua. There are a lot of things that, technically speaking, is mutar. If it's mutar, it's mutar. Now, sleeping, it would not be asur unless you go into, come to a state of deep sleep, which would be a state that the person would uncontrollably do certain bodily functions, namely passing gas, which would be asur with tefillin, right? That would be the only concern. First white line says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, we're talking about the case that you're sleeping in such uncomfortable position that you will not turn into shnat keva, it will not go to a deep sleep. You are sitting, hugging your knees and putting your head in between the knees and taking a little nap. That's uncomfortable enough that the person is not going to go to shnat keva, and therefore we're not concerned. That's what it, so in other words, the braita that Abaye brings, that a person could do shnat keva with shnat arai with tefillin, and we're not concerned about shnat keva, is when you are sitting, hugging your knees in a very uncomfortable position. That's when it's mutar, because you're not concerned it's going to turn into something more. But when we talk about sukkah, that shnat arai is asur, is when you have a helix mattress, custom made with a swan pillow, and you say, I'm just going to sleep for 2 minutes, right? Yeah, right? And then we know what happens afterwards. But even anything short of, jokes aside, anything short of an uncomfortable position of hugging your knees will be asur, because he may turn into a shnat keva. Says the Gemara, Rava Amar, it's not necessarily disagreeing with Rabbi Yochanan, Rava, en keva leshena. Rava says no. The reason is, and this is what we paskin, because en keva leshena. The difference between achilat arai and shenat arai is when you're talking about eating, if you could measure hunger, and then you eat 1 kabitza food, 10 out of 10 times, it's going to be the same amount of satisfaction it gives you, if you could measure the levels of hunger. It'll satisfy the same amount of hunger every single time that you do it. By Shena is not like that. Sleeping, the sleeping gurus over here could comment, you have REM sleep, you have deep sleep, levels of deep sleep. Sometimes you sleep for 5 minutes, you wake up, you're like, Mehaya mitim, like I'm a Bria Hadasha. I feel like I could take on the whole day now after a power nap of a few minutes. And sometimes you need a longer sleep for that. So it's no keva for shenai. Achilat arai, it's a quantifiable thing. Shenat arai is not really a quantifiable thing. The Rashi says over here, Pa'amim, sometimes a person sleeps for just a few minutes and you feel so refreshed, and that does it for you, and therefore that is considered a chashuv, an important and considerable amount of rest, which would be asur. Hence, says Rava, you can't really quantify sleep with minutes and with positions. It's asur across the board. Even a little short nap would be asur outside of sukkah. So says the Gemara, this, by the way, is, of course, a musar haskel for those people who are not educated enough, or they see some of the some segments of the Jewish community that do not sleep in the sukkah, and they say, well, if this person could do it with a long beard, so I could do it as well. And that is absolutely wrong, because the Gemara, the Rambam, the Rosh, all of the Rishonim and all the Achronim, including Shulchan Aruch and all the Mefarshei Shulchan Aruch, they will tell you the same thing as we're learning here, that sleeping even a little nap outside the sukkah is absolutely asur. The Ben Ish Chai writes, if you see someone like that, you walk over to them and you wake them up, because they're doing an isur, right? Forget about the rabbi's drasha, but they can't sleep outside the sukkah, and that would be actually a problem.
You mean your parents? Your parents are sleeping outside the sukkah?
Well, that should be the thing, because they're doing something that is incorrect, unless you know that they really do not want to, and they're not frum enough or whatnot. That becomes very questionable. That's for a halachic shir. This is not discussion of halakha. This is discussion of the fact that the Gemara explicitly says that there is absolutely the heter for having a steak and rice outside the thing. You want to have some sushi outside, oh mutar. You want to take a 2-minute nap, asur. And that is really the core element of that is a halachic element. Details to be discussed in a halachic shir, but it's something important not to look around and find somebody that does not sleep in the sukkah because there is ora makif outside, and there's the kabbalistic things for someone that doesn't know the first thing about Kabbalah, and we are mista'er because we are not mista'er. The reasons that are given are not sufficient to go against a direct Gemara and Shulchan Aruch. So that is certainly something that a person should be mindful as you plan your Chag HaSukkot, how to build the sukkah, where to build the sukkah, how to plan your sleeping. People do this in a 10-degree weather in the East Coast. We should definitely be thankful that we're in the warm, sunny California, and then something that definitely could be planned properly.
Based on this, then how can you have a nice big steak that fills you up, and rice and this and sushi?
Not for now, but we'll get to that discussion at some point. In Mirza Hashem, Tani, in other words, you're saying if it's amount versus having suda. We'll get to that. Tani Chada, we learned one braita. Yashen Adam bitfilin shenat arai, aval lo shenat keva. One braita says you can sleep with tefillin on you, a shenat arai, a temporary sleep for a few minutes, but not shenat keva. I can't go to deep sleep. But Tanya Idach, another braita says ben keva ben arai, you could sleep whether it's shenat arai, shenat keva, everything is mutar with tefillin. But Tanya Idach, lo keva velo arai, you can't do anything, not even a shenat arai. With tefillin, you can't do anything. So this is like a classic Jewish concept. Like any machloket that could be held, we have it, right? You name it, we have it. Both are asur, both are mutar. Arai is mutar and keva is asur. And the Gemara says, not a stira. They're talking about 3 different scenarios. Look, Asha, if you do not wear the tefillin on you, but you're holding them in your hands, then everything is asur. Because one little dozing off of shenat arai, and they could fall from your hand, and that would be disrespectful to tefillin. So if you're holding on tefillin, you cannot even take a short nap. If you're actually wearing tefillin on you, then is what we said before, that shenat arai is mutar, because you're not concerned about shema yafiach. And shenat keva would be asur. That's when you're wearing the tefillin on. And the one that everything is mutar is ha de pari sudara ilave. It's talking about a case that you're not wearing the tefillin and you're not even holding the tefillin. You took the tefillin off. You even put as a thing of respect, you put a garment on it to cover it. But you're sleeping right next to it, so are we going to be concerned that you're going to roll over it? No, they can't fall. Shema yafiach b'ayim is not a thing, because you're not wearing them. So therefore, you could even go to sleep shenat keva next to them, as long as they're covered and they're not on you. Says the Gemara, V'kama shenat arai, and what is considered shenat arai? Tani Rami bar Yecheskel kedei iluch me'a ama. It's about walking me'a amot, right? It's not a lot, depending on how fast you walk. It's maybe a minute and a half, right? Me'a ama. Tani nami achi. We learned also in the Braita the same way. Hayashen b'tfilin v'roeh keri. If a person is sleeping with tefillin and he had a similar mission, it became keri, ochez beretzua, you don't want to hold on the tefillin with the tum'ah that you have on you. So therefore, tefillin itself, what we call the ktisa, the actual box of tefillin that has a shin on it, has extra level of kedusha, you don't want to touch that. You hold with the retzua, you take it off. Ve'eino ochez bektisa. You do not hold it with the actual box of the tefillin, with the actual ktisa. Divrei Rabbi Yaakov. That's what Rabbi Yaakov says. V'chachamim omrim yashen adam betfilin shenat arai. A person can sleep shenat arai with tefillin, avalo shenat keva, but not a deep sleep. You can't go to sleep, so to speak, with tefillin on. The kama shenat arai. This is what we said before, that we learned in the Braita the same way. This is the part. The kama shenat arai. What is the amount of shenat arai? Kedeh hiluch me'a ama. The time that it takes to walk 100 amot. Now, says the Gemara, Amar Rav. Rav said, Asula adam nishan bayom yoter mishnat hasus. A person should not be sleeping during the day more than a nap of a sus, a horse. Well, because horse does not go to sleep, deep sleep. Is awake and goes to sleep a few minutes here and there. That's how they sleep. So shenat hasus is something that we speak about when it comes to having temporary, like a few momentary sleep. Is shenat hasus. Rav says a person should not be sleeping during the day more than shenat hasus. Why is that? Because we're wasting your time. Bitul Torah. This is not on Chag Sukkot. This is year round, right? Shenat hasaorayim, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, is one of the things that's motzine da adam min haolam. You waste your day, right? The Mishnah Sharim brings the in Chelek HaZirut, he talks about the fact that the person should be so careful in not wasting their life. And this is something that is theme that he talks about later on as well. He actually brings their pasuk from Shlomo Melech. He says, "Me'at shenot, me'at terumot, me'at chibuk yadayim nishkav." A little sleeping, a little napping, a little hugging and snuggling yourself to comfort yourself. If that's your mindset, that's what you're after, uba ki mehalech reshecha umachzorcha keish magen. You will be guaranteed that you will not get anywhere in life. That's not the way of successful people, that they're looking at how much they could sleep. I used to speak with Ben David when he used to come here, and he would tell me he was an unbelievable person. He came to, even his older age, he always had a bounce in his step. So L'chvot Shabbat, the Shulchan Aruch says, there's a concept of sleeping L'chvot Shabbat. Someone that spent a Shabbat with him told me once. He said he said, okay, let's take a little nap for L'chavot Shabbat. He said, until I got to take my jacket off, he was already sleeping. I rolled in the bed twice before I fell asleep, and he woke up already. Again, a few minutes. He said, okay, let's go learn now. Again, that's the mindset of an accomplishment-oriented person. But nevertheless, it says a person should not be wasting the day with sleeping, unless, of course, you need it, and so on and so forth. But that's what Rav says. So you want to take a power nap? Chazak u'baruch. A power nap, few minutes, you get up. Shenat hasus, right? Now, what is this Shitin Nishmin? We got the Shulchan Aruch actually talks about this, because this memra of Rav, that Asur Adam Nishon Shenat Shenat Arai, Shenat Asus, this Asur Adam Lishon B'Yom Yoter Mishenat Asus is actually paskin in Shulchan Aruch in Siman Resh Lamed Aleph, Seif Aleph. It is a halachic concept, and in the Mishnah Berurah and the Achronim, it becomes like a three-way machloket. What exactly, how many minutes this is? Let's first, before giving any minutes, go just through the sugya, which actually discusses this. So Rav says a person should not be wasting time during the day. You have the day, sleep at night. Don't go to sleep late. Don't look at the phone. Don't waste the life with those things. It's easier said than done for the majority of the society now, but it is what it is. Go to sleep at night. Be awake during the day. Use the wake hours of the day for accomplishment, and that's why it's asur mishum bitul Torah. It's wasting time. So says the Gemara, v'kama shenat asus. What is shenat asus? Shitin nishmi. 60 breath worth of sleep. Amar Abaye. Abaye says shenate demar, the sleep of my master during the day. Now, who does he call master? Remember that? Rabbi Bar Nachmani. It's the one that raised him. It was his foster father. It was his uncle, whatever. So he used to sleep shitin nishmi. He would sleep keder Rav. Rabba's Rebbe was Rav, and Rav keder Rebbe. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, was the Rebbe of Rav. Right? As you see in Gemara Masechet Shabbat, Daf Gimel, and many other places. The Rebbe ke David, and Rebbe was a descendant of David HaMelech, of course, right? It's the Mishpacha of the Nasi from Shevet Yehuda, the descendants of David HaMelech, and that he had a Mesorah that his sleep was like David HaMelech. Now, this is a full circle because Rav, who's the one that said a person is asur to sleep during the day, Yoter Mishnat Asus, he himself would sleep, but Shenat Asus. Not that he never took a nap. He would. But Shenat Asus, a little power nap to give himself strength to go on and learn productively. David Kesusia, and the sleep of David HaMelech. Now this, when we talk about David HaMelech, the Gemara in Brachot is clear that David HaMelech never slept more than Shenat Asus. Even at night, he would have like small little bits of sleep. Now it becomes very important not to know what's Shenat Asus, because he's going through life like that. Is it 3 minutes? Is it half an hour? Right? Is it 1 hour? What exactly it is? That becomes machloket in the Mishnah Berurah, where there, or the susya shitin nishmi. It's 60 breath worth of sleep. Abaye havanayim kedeme'ayil mipumbedita lebekubi. Abaye would himself, who said this, he would sleep the amount of time that would take from going from Pumbedita to Bekubi. Now, what is that amount of time? If you take a look in Rashi over here, we have it explained in a different place. The Havushita Parsi. It would be 6 parsaot. This would be a very strange Rashi. Because if you say every parsa is 72 minutes, you're talking about what? 7 hours and 15 minutes almost of sleep during the day. That would be very, very strange. That's why that little gimel that you have that gives you the proper girsa says 1/6 of a parsa, which makes a lot more sense. 1/6 of a parsa would be 12 minutes. That exactly 12. It would be 12 minutes. That would be a short nap. Still, it's like a power nap in the day, but it's not something very strange. It's more than maybe shitin nishmin. That's why the Gemara over here says that this Abaye's experience, Rav Yosef told him, his Rebbe, Rav Yosef told him, Ad matai atzel tishkav. He read the pasuk of Shlomo Melech in Mishlei Perek Vav. He says, until when you, the lazy man, will sleep? Matai takum mishenatecha. When are you going to wake up from your slumber? That's the pasuk that Rabbi Yosef read to Abaye for sleeping. Well, either seven hours makes a lot more sense there. But again, that's the whole day. So when did he learn Torah? That's why it's changed on the side to the Girsah that we mentioned, 1/6 of a parsa, which would be, again, a little power nap of 12 minutes. I lost track of time. Bezrat Hashem, we will continue this in the days to come.